good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you are at. It is good evening in Osaka, but nice to see everyone, and welcome back to Three Guys Podcast, Part 2. So, tonight we have a very special guest, our first guest, which is awesome. But she is a French teacher, a English teacher, a entertainer, a singer, and a burlesque dancer. Ooh la la. So I'm going to turn it over to Simon and John because tonight our guest I know very well, and I think I know all of the answers to the questions.
But apparently you don't know my name because I didn't say it.
Well, I haven't said it yet. I'm going to say it right now. Her name is Mélanie Valère, or Mélanie Valère, as we say in English.
Oh, Mélanie Valère.
Right. So, John, Simon, I will leave it up to you to be the inquisitors this evening, to ask her all the questions that you want to know.
First, Mel, please tell us where you're from.
So, I'm French, as Tom said. I'm from a small city in the center of France called Le Puy-en-Velay.
Oh, can we all try and say that? Can you teach us how to say that now? Le Puy-en-Velay?
Actually, I don't know how to say this, actually.
Le Puy-en-Velay.
Okay, let's go. Let's all try and say it. Tom, you say it first.
Le Puy-en-Velay.
John?
Maybe? How's that?
I'm not going to try. What? Go, okay, Mélanie, one more time. I can do this.
Le Puy-en-Velay.
Le Puy-en-Velay.
Okay, my turn.
But Simon was better.
Yeah.
Le Puy-en-Velay.
He's British. He's closer. He's closer.
So basically, it's a small city in the center of France. Even French people, we don't really know about it. But to give you an idea, it's close to Lyon.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about your hometown? What's it like? Is it like a historical place? Is it like a countryside place? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So, as I mentioned, it's a very small city. I don't remember how many, actually, citizens live there, but it's small. It's mostly like countryside, as you said, but it's a beautiful, charming city because it's a historic city. Many historical buildings, like cathedrals. It's very Catholic. It's a very Christian place. It's very known for the Saint-Jacques de Compostelle, like it's a pèlerinage, like a march, like Christians do every year. Well, not this year, apparently. So yeah, it's very famous for Christians, beautiful architecture, medieval architecture, and we are very famous for lentils. It's our specialty there.
I did not know that.
Lentils and verben. It's a liquor. It's a liquor from a plant. Yes. So we have two local specialties.
Plant liquor. Very good.
Green.
So the next question is, in your free time and your hobbies, what are they? What do you do for fun now?
Recently? It's not so much fun.
Keep it clean, please.
No, I'm like very like normal, I guess. I like watching movies and TV shows, hanging out with my friends. I love karaoke, but yeah, obviously recently we couldn't go so much.
What's your favorite karaoke song? If you had to choose one song to finish your night, what would be your favorite karaoke song?
Difficult question, right?
I can tell you the one I'm so tired to hear.
Which one?
Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who tries to sing that? Oh,
it's a great, amazing song for karaoke if you're people who can sing it well. Like, but it's the kind of song you hear every time. It's terrible. But for me, like to finish the night, I don't know. Like, I like finishing with something fun. Like often, like when I finish the karaoke, I will sing like some opera song, like Habanera from Carmen, because it makes me laugh.
Sing opera?
I sing in French. Yeah, I can sing some few songs. Like I'm not an expert, but
So I think a lot of people. Well, I don't know if everyone knows, but now you're in Japan. So of course you're from France originally. But how did you get to Japan? How did you find yourself in Japan?
When I was in Lyon, I was at university and was developing a lot of projects with my ex-partner. And one of the projects was to go to Japan to present a video game, like a demo video game. So in my mind, I thought like maybe I can get some skills in Japanese to be able to make a presentation or just like the greetings in Japanese. So I decided to join a class, a Japanese class, and I started studying like for 6 months. And my teacher suddenly said she knew somebody who needed a au pair, so homestay babysitter, right? To go in Kobe in a hot family. So I thought about it for like 10 minutes, and then I was maybe spend a year in Japan, like with a salary, and you not have to pay so much, and you can have time to travel in Japan, discover the country. And so I had a Skype interview with the family, and we met at the airport in France, and we traveled together in Japan. So it was an experience. Yeah, for a year I stayed in Kobe with this host family. It was an amazing experience, and so I decided to stay a bit longer. I thought I would stay like for 1 or 2 years, and I'm here for 7 years now.
And you're still here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay a little bit longer too. Yeah.
So I guess a lot of people might ask as well. You're from France, and France is, of course, famous around the world for so many things. What do you like about Japan, and what's the difference between France and Japan for you?
I think to see the differences between the countries would be a long list. Actually, we can point out what we have in common. And I think the first thing we have in common is a love for food.
Agreed. Agreed. Like Japanese and French have a strong love for food.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's one of the things we really love. It's food and art, I would say, big A. Even if French people actually consume art much more, actually. We go to the movie theater much more, we go to the museums or so. But I noticed that Japanese have this sensibility for art in general and painting. They love impressionists, for example. But yeah, food, art, I think that's the two things we really have in common. But then there are so many differences. Sometimes there are good things. Like, for example, one of the first surprises I had when I arrived here was how clean are the streets. Oh, the security, of course, safety in Japan. Like you can let your laptop in the Starbucks and go to the toilet, that kind of thing.
It's nice.
Yeah, I think it's a global thing, like the respect of the environment. I'm not talking about green. I'm talking about how people live in a society together and they respect the public space. That is something I really appreciate in Japan.
Tom mentioned that you were a burlesque. How do you say it? A burlesque dancer, a burlesque performer?
So in French, we call that effeuilleuse burlesque.
Oh, we have to practice saying that, everyone. Come on.
Wait. Let's try it.
We have to practice now.
Be first.
Effeuilleuse burlesque.
Effeuilleuse burlesque. How was that? All right. John, your turn.
Effeuilleuse burlesque.
Effeuilleuse burlesque.
So bad.
Simon.
My turn. Say it again, Mel.
Effeuilleuse burlesque.
Effeuilleuse burlesque.
You sound like you're choking on your tongue.
Because the British are close to France. That's why.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about it. How did you get into it?
So just to explain quickly what it is, because many people might not know what it is. For me, my personal definition of a burlesque performer, it's extravagant striptease. It's something that could be glamorous, sexy, or funny. It's a very open and free art, performing art.
Funny, sexy stripper.
Kinda, yeah. You
Cool.
can do whatever you want in burlesque. So I think that's why I started to be very attracted to it. So first of all, I was always into fetish clothes, like corsets and like leather and latex, this kind of things. And the aesthetic of it, I loved it. And like the vintage 50s, the vintage clothes and garments, I love that. And I've been doing performing art for years. Since I'm 6 years old, I've been on stage, like drama classes, on a clubs, dance. So to be on stage is, yes, it's in me. It's one of my nature. And I discovered burlesque via Gita Von Teese. At the time, she was wife of Mary Manson, and as a teenager, let's kind of golf, So I love Mary Manson, and I was into all these kind of things. And I didn't think I would do that. Really, like it's not something I imagined. But my ex-boyfriend at the time really encouraged me, saying like, "Why not you? Like you're pretty enough to do it." And I was, "I'm too fat." But actually, no. Like in burlesque, you have so many different kind of women, and that's why it's beautiful. Like whatever is your kind, whatever is your type, you can find a girl with her personality doing a show, and you can like it or not. So this art attracts me for this reason. You're very free to do whatever you want, and whoever you are, you can do it, man or woman, actually. So
so there
my
are
first
male
experience,
burlesque performers as well?
of course.
I did not know
Really?
this.
I didn't know that, actually.
I assumed burlesque was only for women, but actually there are men as well. I had no idea. So
They are men. Well, we call them boylesque.
Boylesque?
Wait, I have a question, Mélanie. So I've had the good fortune of seeing a few burlesque performances, and one particular stands out. Her performance name was Kitty Von Titty. Do you have a stage name?
Oh, she does have a stage name.
That's great. I didn't think about that. Yeah,
I have one. It's funny because I chose it when I was 21 years old. And
tell the story why you chose that name. Like okay. I know what the name is, of course. So tell the story why you chose that name.
So I chose that name when I was 21. So I was kind of young still at the time, but I was, at this moment of your life when you're becoming a woman. So, but you still feel like you're naive and cute. So I chose my name, which is Ivy Von Candy. So
Ivy Von Candy.
The Von, each time you see the Von, it's often an homage to Dita Von Teese. And she took actually this name also from somebody else. So Ivy Von Candy, for me the candy side was this sweetness I had in me at the time. I was still cute and like kawaii. and the Ivy, the name Ivy for me was very interesting because of many things. First, there is like some consonants with my own name, Mélanie Valère, so to have an E and V together. And then Ivy is very close to Eve, so also this naive and pure girl. Yeah. And also it's a reference obviously to ivy, like poison ivy. So it's also one of my personality side, like I'm kind of a geek. So I like Batman, and like poison ivy was one of my favorite characters, even in the movie Batman and Robin. Yeah.
Terrible movie.
Yeah,
terrible
but my favorite character when I was a kid.
That's another podcast.
Come on, Uma Thurman was very sexy.
You were young.
And actually, I think, in a way, this movie with this poison ivy influenced me in burlesque because this show she has in the movie when she's in the gorilla outfit and she's taking it off and she's having.
Oh no, no, I mean she looked hot in the movie, but
yeah, the movie is ridiculous. But
you know,
I think it's so many things mixed in my childhood, my influence. So I thought it was perfect for my stage name. So that is a non very amazing story of my stage name.
So Mélanie, how did you first start learning English?
So in France, most part of kids, I'm not sure exactly nowadays what is the scholar system, but we start learning few words like colors and things like that when we are around 9, 10 years old. But from junior high school, you must learn English. It became like the second language, normally like in the courses. I mean, you have French, of course, and then you have to take a few hours of English every week. So for about 8 years, you must study English. That's the French system. So it's what I did. After at university, I chose to learn Arabic, and I sucked at it. Habibi, yeah.
Habibi.
But because I felt that I needed to continue English, I actually like spontaneously entered a class and asked, "Can I continue English with you?" So off the chart, like I wasn't in my courses at all. I just joined a class because I wanted to continue English, and I felt I needed it. So the teacher was very nice, and I could join the class and not have any test, which is very motivating actually. So yeah, basically it's how it works in France. Normally for 5 to 8 years you must study English.
Was it something you enjoyed, or was it kind of a drag?
Really something that actually I love. Maybe that's why now I'm much more comfortable with it. But I started learning English when I was 12, and I enjoyed it a lot. I wanted to speak. And one of the first thing I was trying to do is to translate lyrics of the singers I liked at the time. I think the first translation.
For example.
Yes, the first translation. Oh my god. Awkward.
Say it.
No, it was
it?
Britney Spears.
Oh god.
It's classic though, isn't it? Classic.
Of course it was, yeah.
Millennial. She's a millennial. So yeah, no.
I was like 11 or 12, I don't remember exactly, but I started like that. So at 12 years old, I started like listening more English music, and I wanted to understand. So, you know, in the album, because before we could buy a CD and you have nice little book inside with all the lyrics.
Yeah.
And so I was looking
Those
at
are the
it
days.
and I couldn't understand anything. So I started by myself to take my dictionary and translate it. So I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And normally in the school I was, we should have had a trip in England. It was something every year we had. But unfortunately that year, because of war in the Middle East and the terrorist attack, yes, I'm young, we couldn't go to London. So
this was like
2003 or 4, something like that.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was so upset. I was sad. I wanted to go to England. My parents were very nice, and they paid for a linguistic trip for me. So I went for like 3 weeks in Plymouth. Very good.
Plymouth.
Oh, Plymouth.
Simon?
Plymouth.
Plymouth.
Where is that?
Plymouth.
Oh, the East Coast. Yes.
It's in the very south, near the coast.
For me, it was always a joy to speak English and to be able. And actually, this trip was very interesting for me and very important because during that trip, I realized I sucked at English. I realized that I was with other people who were much better or the same age. And I felt this frustration, which really motivated me to be able to speak more. So I started watching more movies in English and translating lyrics, like Marilyn Manson's lyrics.
I would like to know, like, what strategies did you use to learn English? Were you like a grammar person, or did you like trying to use as many vocab words as possible? How did you get? What strategies did you use?
It's very hard to answer this kind of question. Like, often my own students ask me how I'm speaking English, and for me at school, I was a good student, and I was really following in class. In French classes, we don't have so much listening or speaking, but I was very lucky in my high school. We had good teachers and good materials, so I really studied during my scholar years the grammar, the vocabulary. What I was doing, I did that for years. I had a little notebook, like répertoire.
Repertoire.
With A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
What you studied? Or like
And
your
a notebook. How we call this kind of notebook? Like a contact notebook. When you have A, B, C, D.
Notebook.
Okay, whatever.
English is simple.
Like this?
Notebook.
No, whatever. You put the address of people and the contact of people.
French is much more eloquent. English is really simple. Notebook.
Okay, whatever. So, in junior high school and for years, I had a little notebook where I was writing my personal dictionary in English and French. I was writing all the new vocabulary, so I was quite motivated. And my strategy was mostly through movies. Since years, I'm a huge fan of cinema. So when we started to have access to DVDs, I knew I knew VCR, so everything was in French in VCR. We didn't have English. So when I started having DVDs, I could switch to watch everything in English or to just put the subtitles in English. It was amazing. And I watched the movies again and again and again. One of the movies really helped me was The Matrix, actually. I watched this movie like so many
You told me that. It was one of the...
That sounds like a complicated film to watch, because all the sci-fi elements and the sci-fi jargon, it would seem like a very difficult film to watch.
Because I watched it so many times in French at first, and then I watched it in English with French subtitles. And then when I was comfortable with it, I was just watching it in English with English subtitles. So I had no problem to understand.
So it was more being about like just being in love with the movie.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves mostly.
Well, okay. She liked Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah. Also Morpheus does speak very slowly. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
Welcome. Real word.
Welcome. Which do you choose?
No, but it's true. Like, as you said, there are a lot of complicated words and vocabulary inside, but the grammar in English, it's great for that. Like when you watch a movie, the grammar is quite simple. It's just a vocabulary you need to build up and your listening skills. So personally, through movies and then TV shows, I was uploading and downloading many TV shows illegally at the time with emu.
I don't even know that. Like, is that what you kids used to do? I don't know.
Yes.
Pirates Bay.
That's too old.
But at the time, like because of that, thanks to that, we had access in France to much more English content. Then movie theaters started to have also like original version. So one of my best strategies for improving my listening was watching movies and TV shows. And at first it was just with French subtitles, but the more you listen, the less you need the French subtitles, and you can switch to English ones, and you learn vocabulary, you practice your listening. But until I came to Japan, my English wasn't very good for speaking. Yeah. I really improved my speaking skill in Japan, which is weird, yeah.
And how did you do that?
Yeah, how did you do that?
Anyway. You want me to say the joke?
I didn't say that.
No, let's keep it clean. It's going to be a lot of editing as it is.
Yeah,
John?
there's going to be tons of editing on this one.
So honestly, I was saying I improved my speaking skills coming in Japan because I just had to speak. I traveled before coming to Japan. I traveled in Italy many times and in England also. So when you were in a foreign country, you have to speak the foreign language. For Italy, it was okay. I could speak Italian, but I was often in guest house. I loved it. So you meet people from around the world. So you need to try. And I think that's the best advice I could say to anybody. Just try. If you never go through your fear of speaking English and the fear of making mistake, you will never speak.
Did you ever have any fear about speaking, or were you always just very okay with talking to people?
I had a lot of complex with my English because I was trying to be good at it, but the words were just coming in French and it was hard. Like there's a switch in your brain at the moment of your learning when you don't have to think about the words anymore.
Yeah.
But it's this period of time, it could last for years for some people. You really have to translate everything in your mind. And it was painful, like literally for your brain. So yes, I was not feeling comfortable at all speaking English. I was nervous and sweating each time I had to speak like a ticket booth or restaurants. Yeah.
Until when? Like
until
how long until recently did you feel that way?
Until I started drinking more. I think it's really like when you must do it, when you have no other choice. If you want to be understood and you want to understand people, you need to use that language. So
you have to be in a situation where you need to use it.
I think it really, really helped. When I was in Japan, so I came in this host family. The father was French and the mother was Japanese, but her English was great. But my Japanese sucked.
Well,
and
that's how it works when you come to Japan.
Yeah, but actually the fact that she was speaking good English didn't motivate me to speak Japanese at home with her. Because actually I was supposed to speak French with the little girl I was taking care of. But with the mom, we were always communicating in English. So my speaking skills just increased so fast thanks to that.
Really?
Because every day I had to communicate with the mom, texting in English, speaking in English. She was a good mentor.
Is there anything? What's the most annoying thing about English? What's the most frustrating or annoying part of English?
English speakers.
American.
You're not wrong.
We're terrible, aren't we? We're terrible.
And English, yes, you suck. Yeah.
No, but no. Oh.
No, your question is more about the linguistic aspect or the cultural aspect of English.
I would say like when you're
or both.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, John?
No, yeah, let's go with both. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I think for every French people, the hardest thing, the most annoying thing in English is a TH. Yeah. I got better to that, but it took me years to be quite good at it. And I'm not sure sometimes that my pronunciation is so good.
Well, and also the French tend to drop the H. Yeah, you drop H's, which is really hard sometimes.
Like
for
happiness.
I want the penis.
Healthy today. You're healthy today. Yeah.
I ate you.
I ate you. Yeah.
Yes, that is one difficulty. The H, the final S's, and of course the TH. But yeah, the most annoying is the TH because it's a sound.
You don't have.
We don't have at all.
Yeah, right.
And at least the H, just like you exercise, so you can get it after a while. But the TH, yeah, very annoying. That for me is really like the hardest part for the linguistic thing. But culturally, I think what's the most annoying is you must have English in your life or you cannot do anything nowadays.
Other than Americans.
Yeah. We don't have so many Americans, so it's fine.
Okay. Sorry.
No, but I think personally, one of the things, like, I think if I didn't like English, I would be annoyed that I have to learn a language like that. Like, we must. Nowadays, if you want a job, if you want to study abroad or whatever, like, for everything nowadays, you want to use a new network or new software, you need to know some English.
Right.
And because it became like the worldwide language, the universal language, it's sometimes like, I think it's annoying for people who are proud of their own language. Come on, French is spoken in so many countries. Why we haven't shown
Mélanie, are you proud of your own language?
Yeah, because if you didn't have French, you couldn't speak English, right?
That's true, yeah.
Disclaimer, 1/3 of English comes from French. Yes, it does. That's how it goes. So, yeah, so she's a little proud.
I love my language.
But there's a follow-up question there, though. Sorry. The fact that English does have a lot of French words that are rooted in, from French, do you think that made it easier to learn English?
Yes and no. I think if you want to read, yes, of course it makes it easier. Like if I show you some French, also you will understand a lot.
Like for myself, like looking at a French text, it's much easier. I could pick up words. I was like, wow, I could kind of read this actually. So yeah, absolutely. But
we have a lot of what we call in French faux amis, like false friends or fake friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have some very transparent words. Yeah. They look the same. They almost sound the same, but the meaning is quite different. For example, demand. Yeah. Demand. Like in English, it's really like when you ask strongly about something.
You demand for something. Yeah. Right.
But in French, it's just ask. There's nothing like about something arbitrary or an order. Just you ask it. So the meaning is a bit different sometimes, and of course the pronunciation. But then, yes, knowing French makes things easier to learn vocabulary in English, to understand the grammar, because the grammar is so much easier than French.
English grammar is much easier than French.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. But first of all, you don't have masculine and feminine for everything.
There is that. Yeah.
That's difficult, actually. Yeah.
But that's something I noticed when I teach French to English speakers. They learn faster, of course, because they understand some grammar, basic tones.
Something I've never asked you. What actually do you think is the hardest part about English?
It's a good question. Like, for me now, personally, it would be just academic level. Just about level.
Like the higher level vocabulary, or like business English, or like what?
To be able to really like literature style, to have a sense of writing.
Okay.
In my own language, I can write pages, like for novels or like for an essay, no problem. But in English, I will quickly like maybe speak too casually or write too casually, and that is hard part, to have this level of the language,
Yeah, how we change it to be more academic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's why that's interesting.
I try to read more and more literature nowadays to get better at that.
Yeah.
But when you're a beginner, I would say it's probably the pronunciation of English.
Absolutely.
Because the grammar at the beginning, to make one sentence, like he is in the living room, the grammar is simple. But for French speaker, we would be like, he is in the living room.
That's awesome.
He's in the living room. Why don't you notice? He's in the living room.
As we were saying, like the
Yeah.
difficult,
I know.
and we pronounce not is like a soft the, but like a stronger one maybe, like he is in the it's the same. He is in the living room. That would take long time and repeat.
Yes, it does.
He is in the living room, and to stress the words at the good moment.
Well, I mean, you have a very good friend, his English is great, but his pronunciation is not perfect, and he
French.
It's very French, and so he tends to talk like that, like he's in the living room.
Wait, is this the bar owner? Is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
You met him.
What's his?
He's a great guy.
Great. He's a great guy.
But
I think for French people, it might be the hardest thing, and then of course the listening. But I think that would be for every new learner. Like when you learn a new language, listening and speaking are always the hardest thing.
Okay, so Mélanie, you studied really hard, and you've practiced a lot. What's your recommendation or advice for people who are trying to learn English?
I think one of the first advice I would give to anybody who wants to learn any language: patience. I often compare language skills as a sport or music instrument. You won't learn the guitar, the piano in a week.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true.
Me, like when I often say to my students, don't get depressed or despair about it because me, I've been studying English for over 15 years, and I would say I'm fluent now, but I'm not perfect either. I'm still studying. So patience, determination is very important. That is the first advice I would give. So I have some students sometimes they ask me, "Oh, how long I would get this level? How long I would get to speak like a native?" I'm like, it's up to you. Be patient, work, practice, do your homework, try to speak, and
don't stop, right?
Yeah, don't stop.
Don't stop. I think it's like,
and that's connected to my second advice.
Yeah.
Regularity is better than quantity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have some students, they want to learn like 2 hours a day. Like they want to do that for 3 months to level up. I think it's terrible because you won't be able to remember everything. Your brain doesn't work this way. It's about time. It's conditioning. It's conditioning your brain to create new connections. So if you just put everything in the brain in one moment, you will remember a few things, but you won't be able to use that like in 4 weeks or 2 months.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about regularity. If you study...
How I learned Japanese. Perfect.
If you study regularly, like me, I recommend usually 1 hour minimum with a tutor. But of course, I think
1 hour minimum with a tutor every day.
No, every week.
Every week. Okay.
If you really want to progress surely and good, you should work 3 to 4 hours in a week. So it means.
So can you explain a little bit? What does that mean? Like
you need
an hour a day, or what does that mean?
So at least every 2 days, you need to review your lesson. You need to check your vocabulary, write sentences, and you need to know yourself. What is your best memory? Is it visual? Is it with your listening memory? And to also do your own things. Like it could be having a diary. It could be recording yourself with a cell phone sometimes.
So not only studying style, but you need to figure out what your studying style is.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, a good teacher normally like will see after a while what is the best for you. I can see some of my students are better with visualized things, or they need to just repeat and write again to remember a word.
Okay.
It depends on the people. But that's why it's important to be regular.
Right.
If you regularly study with anyway, it could be 15 minutes a day or 5 minutes. But if you do it regularly, and you have sometimes a teacher, someone who will help you and correct you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, like in a year, you will have a very good level.
You've improved a lot, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and mostly it will be in your mind for a long time.
Mm.
So that for me, it's what I try to say often to my students: be patient, work regularly. If I give you homework, it's not because I want to kill you on the homework. No, I want you to keep working when we're not meeting.
Right.
So, and mostly for French, because the writing is very hard, so you need to practice it. English, I'm master.
Yeah, your language is special.
And the last advice I can give is, if you need to work regularly like that at home, try to find something you like and connect it with English.
Mm-hmm.
For example, me recently, I started to sew much more. I like sewing. And instead of looking and Googling everything in French, I try also to learn more vocabulary in English and watch tutorial on YouTube in English about sewing. So to put your passion in the center and to connect it with also other things in your life.
Absolutely.
So if you like video games, nowadays you can play all your video games in English. You have so many materials.
Well, one thing you haven't mentioned that you probably should.
Yes.
South Park. Tell us about South Park.
He wants to go personal.
we're going to go a little bit personal now, because to be honest with you, this is where she spent most of her hours learning and studying.
No, recently.
Recently, no, but but you did it for years and years and years.
No, that's not true, actually. Okay, so as I was mentioning, I love movies and TV shows, and I'm a big fan of South Park. So I've been watching all the seasons in French for years now.
Yeah.
So I know all of them in French.
Way better than I know them. Like,
yeah.
Way better.
I can sometimes do the dialogue.
Yeah.
But I noticed, like, about 3 years ago, yes. 3 years ago, I saw that all the seasons were available on internet for free and with English subtitles too. So I start watching them, and you can just play the button random episodes. So basically, when I do something at home, when I want to go fall asleep, yes, I watch some South Park in English. So, and I watch them again. So basically, yeah, it's very good for understanding slang and and
American culture and all that stuff. And yeah.
But Simpsons and South Park were very good for American culture, actually.
Did you watch Simpsons as well?
Oh yeah. It was very, very popular when I was a kid.
Oh really?
Yeah, like every week I was watching it, and I think I've seen all the seasons until they got bad.
Yeah, well,
after season 5, probably then.
Every show.
But yeah, like, just to finish with this question, to summarize it: patience, regularity, and put your passion at the center of it to be able to connect English to what you like. It's very important. Yeah.
Great. Hey guys, thanks for checking out 3 Guys English podcast, and we just want to thank Mélanie for being here. And final thoughts, John.
Just thank you very much, Mélanie, for coming. It's always a pleasure to see you, and and thank you for all of your insight into English and learning it and using it.
Simon?
Yes, again, thank you, Mel, for taking time out of your schedule, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you very much.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out. Please, if you liked it, please like, subscribe, and hit that like bell. And comment down below if you want to see anything that you haven't seen us do, because we are open to your ideas. So thanks a lot, guys. And just to let you know, next one, we will start putting these up on iTunes. So real soon, check that out because we will have all of our podcasts and our stories on iTunes as well. So check those out. Thanks a lot. Final thoughts, Mélanie? Say something in French.
Au revoir.
That's perfect.
Perfect.